Benvenuti a Class Race 2013.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone for yet another round of the TSR Multiclass SuperGT Championship, or of course just the Multi-GT. My name is DirtenDK, and it's an absolute pleasure here being with you today to take you through the action, the events that are the SuperGT Championship here, Multiclass Racing. And today we are with you from Lago Maggiore in Italy, the field having made the trip around the globe, and of course we're excited to bring you the action once more. So as I'm as I'm rejoicing, then a little bit of refreshments of my own. It is certainly gonna be a banger of a race here, a Maggiore track that has its difficult points with regards to traffic and passing, especially through those fast flowing S's there. We can really expect to see some carnage going down up there, I think. And as per tradition, of course, we are gonna be doing the grid walk. And to no real surprise, I guess, but to no real surprise, it is CJ, the crazy Greek, on pole position, having put his Lexus GT500 up there with a banging time, and he beat Mikey there by a couple of tenths even. Mikey also actually complaining that he didn't have the best qualifying session for him, but managed to put the car there on the front row, so very nice work by him. On the second row of the grid, it is of course the Brit Zephyr, followed by the other NSX, the fast Belgian that is Fred Dude in that more than pink number 11 car. A very nice livery scheme also that they're running there. I think a team actually known as the Star Scream Enterprise, if I'm not completely mistaken. Of course, if I am, please let me know, guys. But a very nice livery anyways there. Next one up on the grid, I suppose that is the car of Armored Core. But for this occasion, he was not racing, so we have French streamer Aveup, who has a very nice Twitch channel and who's also broadcasting the International GT League. He's joining us here as a special guest today. Very nice to see him. And behind him in one of the other Lexuses, it is, of course, regular guy Pinkery. And rounding off the GT500 class, it is the Nissan GTR of AJ in that Golf livery. And then Storm Pacer, who usually, we've seen him do better qualifying, at least last time out at Suzuka, which is the only round that he has been with us for besides with this one. He did quite a lot better in qualifying, but made a mistake here, got some damage, and certainly wasn't his day. He is in last position in class. And so in the GT300s, we also have a special guest, and he's also from France. He is also one of the organizers of the IGTL, substituting in for Dad 24. Today it is Mr. Shomas 74, one of the absolute best drivers in the world. So it'll be interesting to see how the field compares to one of the known absolute top drivers. As I've mentioned before on the channel, he is really on a high level. I'm sorry, with a bit of a thing in my throat there, but he's really competing at a high level, and he's been taking part in some of both the European Championships, the World Championships, amongst other things. Sam Digby is in second position in that very nice Aston Martin. Please just have another look at that livery. Beautiful color scheme there. Really nice work, Digby, in the number 50 car. Then in third position in class, it is the Audi R8 of Joe of the Fire, championship leader there with 100 kilos of ballast. In fourth, it is GT Welch, his closest rival and contender for the GT300 title at the moment, actually, in that Gainer GTR. Behind him, it is yours truly, myself, in the other Audi R8, 50 kilos of ballast for myself there, right in front of the two BMWs of, first of all, of course, VRS Stick, and then the Swedish survivor that is T5 Black. And then the Brit, sorry that I called him Swedish last week, I actually have no clue where I got that from. But the Brit Trucks is in P8 in class once more. And it's not because we're going to be taking pictures, that was just a little mistake. So hey guys, and welcome to a new thing we're doing here. It's called How the Photo Was Shot. Nah, just kidding. So with the grid walk done, it is of course time to get the race underway, and that means we will have the drivers moving on to the formation lap in just a short bit of time. And mind you that the two classes are split 30 seconds apart. So as we have the GT 500 moving now, in 30 seconds time we will have the 300 class moving as well. CJ, they're just getting him along. And as we have the cars on this warm-up lap, it would also be the perfect time to just go through the championship standings. Of course, there is both drivers and a manufacturer standings in the series for both classes. And in the GT 500 class coming into this race, CJ is leading with 42 points, closely followed by Armored Core, who's not here today, but who has driving his car with 35 points. Fred Dude also close in third position, still a championship contender with 30 points. Also closely followed actually by teammate Mikey with 26, Zephyr also with 26 points, and then Pinkery with 19, then AJ, Storm Pacer, and Warlock. And in the 300s, Joe of the Fire has 55 points. He's 15 points ahead of GT Welsh. And in turn, Welsh is then 10 points ahead of VRS Dick. So some bigger gaps are already on display in the GT 300 class, at least when it comes down to the championship standings, than it is getting close after in the battle for third position, because VRS Dick has 30 points. T5 Black with 27, then it is myself with 25. JC, the split car of JC and Trucks, has 15, the split car of that 24, and Jomas has 13 points, and Sam Digby has 8 points in his Aston Martin, so not a lot of ballast for him. So it's really going to be interesting also, as I mentioned before, to see how the regulars of the series can match up to a star driver like Jomas, to see if there will be anyone who can actually present a challenge to a known Superman, a known alien like that. Of course, I mean that in a good way. Should anyone be in doubt, I think most of the viewers here only know the term alien as something quite positive to be slung out there. CJ also haven't made a transition from a fast human to something that is also getting quite close. Using the 6-axis for controlling his car, so really interesting, and one of the only drivers that I know of actually using this and on a hugely competitive level, and he does seem to be putting that to really good use there. The NSX of Mikey there in second position, as we are going to see the GT 500 cars being bunched up here down towards the final corner. And that's a nicely bunched field there. And now they're just waiting for CJ to put down the hammer. And I think he has pressed the pedal. And he is leading them down to turn one there, getting cleanly through. Mikey in second position with Fred Dude getting up into third there. So a really nice start from the Belgian, gaining a position on Zephyr there in fourth position. Abu, he is in fifth with Pinkery in sixth, AJ in seventh, and Storm Pacer in P8. CJ there getting cleanly away and already making a little bit of a gap to himself. The two Hondas behind are probably just going to be trying to work together and see if they can keep the Greek in front on a leash. We're looking quite close there on the opening lap. But also a very orderly start in a very tricky first sector there by the GT 500 cars. Always really nice to see when they get off to that nice flying start. And I think, as we say that, we've had the start also in the GT 300 class, and as per channel tradition, we just managed to miss that one completely. It is Jomas getting a superior run there, Digby in second, closely followed by Joe of the Fire. GT Wells putting on a little bit of pressure there. Trucks having had a brilliant start, he went wide right down there, and both VRS Stick and T5 Black has gotten past the Audi of myself. And now T5 has the inside line there and says, thank you very much. CJ still controlling events here as they are coming out up onto the second flying lap. Oh, getting very close, just managing to squeeze the car in upon that patch of tarmac and absolutely maximize the exit speed of that last corner. It is such a difficult one to get right. CJ looking composed there. Mikey and Fred Dude still really close together in the two NSXs. And good to see the Honda being well represented and driven to its capacities. It's a difficult car to drive. It can be a fast car. It is twitchy though, and it does require quite a bit of skill from the driver. And still Jomas leading Digby, however seeming to just stay within reach there. Joe of the Fire and GT Welsh also looking somewhat close in behind there. And then there's a little bit of gap down to VRS Stick. And I see we also have a couple of returning viewers, a couple of the drivers that has joined while I was doing the points and wasn't looking at the chat. So hello to Joe, hello to T5, and also hello to Mr. Nukeshot himself. A pleasure to see you. Joe of the Fire here, 3rd position in class at the moment. I think he will be content with that. As for now at least, GT Welsh still close behind. So no rest for the Professor at the moment. Still also CJ leading, just trying to shake off those two Hondas. But also looking like it's going to be a little bit difficult actually for him to do so, because they certainly seem to be having the pace here. Both Mikey and Fred Dude, they put a little bit of a gap in down to Zephyr in P4. It is Storm Pacer in P5. Closely followed also by Avoop, and then there's a battle for P7 here as AJ makes the move on Pinkery. Goes a little bit deep into the turn there, and Pinkery is able to go around the outside into the next, following even tighter right-hander there. And as they come into turn 3, it is status quo there, still Pinkery leading AJ, or leading, but in the battle for 7th position, it certainly is. Now Jomas ever increasing his lead on to Sam Digby as we go inside with the Frenchman. Coming down towards the last turn, a difficult one to get right because of the slope of the corner. As you crest the hill and just head downwards, shift the ballast. It's a corner where you can't go really fast, but if the car decides to understeer, then you can really be heading into trouble. Having a look rearwards, it is still visible also that Digby isn't completely shaken. And let's have a look inside with the Brit in 2nd position, the unlucky Brit, as we may see or say so. He has really not been lucky for the first 3 races of the season so far. And being known as being one of the absolute fastest drivers in the series, it has been hugely disappointing. Especially because he has shown his pace to be right up there. It's not because he's been any slower, but it's been having disconnects and other sorts of really bad luck. Now, however, it seems to be a little bit more on rails for Sam Digby. The Aston Martin, also a great car here for the track. And GT Welsh still just close to Joe of the Fire. As we go inside with Welsh to see how he copes with putting the championship leader under pressure in that battle for P3. And as we have CJ now coming up to the first round of traffic, he gets cleanly through with trucks there. Next up are the 2 NSXs, and now Zephyr has made a brilliant comeback because he is right on the tail of Mikey, and Mikey might have made a little mistake there because it is now Fred Dude that is up into 2nd position. Oh, as trucks get a little squeezed there. Also Storm Pacer having made his way back up, and he's now up into 4th position. So a great opening laps from Storm Pacer, having flown somewhat under the radar, but really having moved up the field now. And he's putting himself up into those contending positions for those podium top spots. And we have Welsh noting in chat that that he hates turn 5 here at Maggiore. And for those of you who don't know what turn 5 at Maggiore is, I'll be sure just to note it next time we see somebody going around that corner. It is certainly a very, very easy one to get wrong. Having to do a combination of braking and steering at the same time early in corner, and then it just tightens up to well, what in rally would we call an open hairpin, I suppose, pretty much. In most cars it is a low rev third gear turn, using third gear in most cars to be able to get early on the power there. Mikey now pitting in, so I think he has had some bad luck on that lap. You do see a little bit of scraping on the car there on the right front, so there might just be damage to his car, and it looks like that is the reason why he's pitting in. Of course, making sure to take enough fuel to last him for the rest of the race. Fresh tires to be able to keep the speed, and he is out again, but of course in last position, so he'll be open for a massive undercut now at the moment. As we mentioned before, CJ still looking strong as he's coming up through the S's here. Fred Dude still also looking really good in second position, and now Storm Pacer having made his way up into third, so he has really come all the way from the back and is now up on to the podium spot, so that is a really strong one. As we mentioned before as well, Zephyr in fourth, also looking quite good, with AJ up into fifth position as well. Avu just perhaps having had a little bit of a caution, battling Pinkery for sixth position. But let's go back and check up with the leader in class, CJ, and everything is just looking like it's flowing on rails for the Greek at the moment. No drama. And for him, I think that is one of the biggest things you could actually put in, because when he looks planted like that, first of all, you know that he's going super, super fast, and second of all, well, usually he doesn't look that planted when driving, even when going fast, even when not crashing. So you'd expect him also to have the consistency today, and if that is the case, he will be a hard gentleman to beat. Of course, there is still loads of traffic to overtake, so nothing is certain yet there. Fred Dude in the NSX, they're getting a little bit wide from the exit of turn 4, and there's a good time to mention the hill that is turn 5 there. Fred comes in, perfect line there, just about clips the apex at the right point, and then using the entirety of the track on the exit as well. So perfect taking there, but it's so easy to get too much to the left on the braking. If you get just a little bit of the wheel onto the grass, then it is just game over. And of course, plenty of runoff space there, so it's not necessarily a hugely damaging disaster, but it's going to cost you a lot of time. Checking in with the 300s there. Jomas running very wide, using absolutely 100% of the track that's available. Digby there looking really strong also in second position. And he's putting a reasonable margin between himself and Joe of the Fire, meaning that can just consolidate this second place right now and hope for maybe to be able to even contend for a victory should any kind of problems arise with Jomas there, as Digby nearly puts those left side wheels onto the grass there, and would have just underlined the statement. And CJ noting that he likes this entire track except for the first sector. Well, I think nobody, at least when driving downforce cars and in most race cars, that first sector really isn't that enjoyable. But in slower cars, I think it's really nice, personally, in any kind of street car, low power street car, or the Group 4 cars also. I think it's a nice twisty sector where you can actually attack it and overtake. But as of course, when you would usually be relying on the downforce to get around the corners, then going around corners at, well, 70, 80 kilometers an hour well, that is no fun at all. So Digby looking strong. We're gonna check in with Joe of the Fire, who still has Welch for that bit of company from behind and never out of sight, and that also means that he's never out of mind, and Joe of the Fire will just have to live with that for now at least. Then behind, a bit on an island for now, it is VRS Dick there with the teammate T5 Black in behind, and there T5 getting around that last S nicely indeed, and myself in behind T5 as we said before. Then it's Storm Pacer and Fred Dude, and what we're seeing here is that, excuse me, but Storm Pacer having overtaken Fred Dude and putting his legs, oh, as he gets very sideways there. Style points would be immense there. Probably a lot of love from the Japanese spectators for such sideways action coming into turn 1 there, defending. Ooh, and a little nudge maybe. It looked like, certainly looks like lag from Fred's side there, because his car was hopping to the left and hopping to the right. And that's always a shame to see when the netcode doesn't quite live up to the expectations that we, after all, have for such a game here. And the lag punting come into play. So F's out for that one. I hope it will not have too much of an effect on the drivers that just got hit by it. Storm Pacer still in second position there with Fred in third. Just getting past VRS Dick there. Zephyr also now really close to this part of this fight, and he's certainly still a part of it. And a little bit way behind it is Awoop, putting the pressure onto AJ Pinkery, perhaps also just had a little bit of trouble, perhaps, that he's back into 7th position now. Jomas, of course, is still leading in the 300s, and as we can see here, he is just slowly disappearing out in the blue, out in front of Mr. Digby here, who keeps it strong in 2nd position. But will it be enough? That is the question after all there. Now CJ getting past Joe of the Fire, and that in turn means that maybe a little bit of an opportunity for Welsh there, as Joe of the Fire just got a little too much of wheel onto the curb. Just sent the car sliding a little bit, but seems to be making up for it quite nicely here. Welsh maybe even lost a little bit of time on this one. And that Gainer GTR, as we mentioned before, certainly a good looking car there. Oh, as Welsh goes a little wide in his hated turn 5 there, opens the door for Storm Pacer to go through. And now it is a turn of Fred Dude to get by, and this is what I mentioned in the intro. Because when this happens for the 500s, it is very, very hard to get by, and the 300s will not be happy to give up that space. They pretty much only have one racing line, and it gets very, 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 very sketchy there for Zephyr there. 2 tires in the grass, but just managing to hold on, managing to survive. So well done there. Did I become Big Smoke for... Well, that's one of the best comments I've seen in the chat so far. That's a good one. Yeah. So Welsh now looking to continue putting on the pressure to Joe of the Fire, the professor in front of him, the all-knowing and also always meticulous in his approach to racing, Joe of the Fire. And that has earned him this nickname, at least from me up here, as we have a pit round now, meaning that both Storm Pacer, well, this is Zephyr and Fred Dude who are into the pits at this moment. Fred Dude, perhaps he got a little bit of damage when he was involved in that lag punt there. That might be the time to fix it now. Also, of course, a good time to get the fuel on, especially if you know that you'll be dealing with the traffic for the next couple of laps as well. You might as well just pit in and see if you can hit the traffic at a more advantageous place. So Fred Dude exiting the pits there, now in 6th position, still in front of both AJ and Mikey. Zephyr making the undercut work on the pit stop there. And by quite a lot, so was that just the damage, or could that be even more? So CJ still leading in the 500 class, Storm Pacer and Abu now up into third position following that pit round. So always changes happening. Pinkery now up into fourth. Of course, they're also just following around. So yeah, because Storm Pacer was involved in that situation and is still going around on track. So that's definitely strong work, but he has already shown that from starting last on the grid and just moving up through the field in a matter of 4 or 5 laps, that is certainly a strong move. And once it is time to pit in, it is certainly time here, lap 11 of the 27, and he will get his scheduled stop out of the way along with that damage that he has. No tire change for him. So he's going to be hoping that the double stint is going to be working out well for him, and he rejoins the track in second position still. So that is a really strong one from him, actually being able to stay out with the damage, being able to keep the time there, and now coming out of the pits in front of Pinkery with a car that's actually going to be feeling, it's probably going to be feeling fantastic, even though he does get a big amount of understeer there through turn 4. Still, the newly signed AS Monaco Pro Esports driver Shomas in the lead. And hello to Stella. Hello. Stella's my dog. She's 1.5, and as you can hear at times, she just gets excited. And I hope it's not hurting your ears too much out there. Anyways, Joma's still leading, and he is showing how quick the Porsche 919, the 911, the 919. I don't know what I'm talking about. Too much commentating on them LMP1 races, of course. This is the Porsche 911 RSR, and he is showing how fast of a car that is when driven by the right hands. In turn, I think Jonas could make the old Fiat 500 look like a fast car when driven. Anyways, he is that fast. Now it is Storm Pacer having to get his way around the compatriot. Both of them are in second position in their respective classes at the moment. Sam Digby finding a nice place to just get out of the way there as Storm Pacer goes a little wide there. Yeah, perhaps the comment of with the Porsche 919 wasn't completely horrible indeed, because he makes that 911 go like a 919, no doubt about it. So Digby getting overtaken also by Pinkery, the third place driver in the GT 500 class at the moment. And just looking at the gap down from Digby to Joe of the Fire, that is a massive one indeed. But also worth to mention that while the Aston Martin of Sam Digby has a minimum ballast added of 16 kilos, Joe of the Fire has a minimum ballast of 100 kilos to his car today, and that adds up in total to, I think it's actually 110, with the percentage weight being a little unprecise in GT Sports, so 110 kilos of extra weight upon that Audi R8. That is quite a good job. Joe of the Fire actually just keeping it in third position at the moment. Now Welsh getting, I thought that was Welsh right behind, because I saw the shape of a Nissan GTR. I saw something black. It was of course Abu. Hello Stella. It was of course Abu coming to lap him, and not GT Welsh, so fools on me for that time around there. I don't know why the left hand of mine always wants to press past Welsh when shuffling through here. GTR, but he is actually quite close to Joe of the Fire. And in behind it is VRS Dick on an island, myself very much also so on an island, and T5 Black. Well, that's more like Robinson Crusoe. So T5 also having had an incident, I think, on the early part of the race there, a collision with AJ that was, I think it was AJ, that was certainly unfortunate. And being put quite far down the order there. CJ still just looking like it's all going on rails for him at the moment. As he even cuts the balloony curb there. It's always a difficult one to get right, and he is up on this lap on the previous best, and it is by 0.3 of a second, so he's really flying at the moment, the Greek here. Storm Pacer still looking strong in second position. He's been building a little bit upon the gap down to Pinkery in third. Fred Dude now also having made his way back up in a strong manner indeed as well. He's up into fourth position, and here going around, oh, as he has to go around Digby on the outside, and that gets a little shaky. And did he get any kind of damage from that collision? I certainly don't hope so, because it could be the end of the hopes for Fred Dude if it is, and that is certainly unlucky. Such a difficult way, or such a difficult place to overtake the traffic, and having to actually make the overtake itself through that right kink there. A very hard place to do so. So yeah, bad luck there for Fred Dude. And let's see if he will be pitting in to fix anything. Let's hope he can keep it running. And he stays on track. So good work there. And now it is time for Digby to enter the pits. And it is, in general, I think, time for the GT300 pit round. So we have the leader Jomas in, we have Digby coming in, we also have Joe of the Fire pitting in, we also have Jomas leaving the pits down with 44 liters of fuel in the tank. Same goes for Digby, he's out on track again in third position. Here is the Gainer GTR. It'll be interesting to see if he can actually produce the undercut there. DRS Dick has stayed on track and gets out right in front of Joe of the Fire. And that might turn out to be costly for Joe, because he has to contend with the stick now, at least for the next lap being, and that might just enable Welch to catch up. And just in behind this, I have also stayed out, and of course same goes for T5, who had his pit stop early on and will probably just be able to finish the race on what he has at the moment. At least so he will be hoping. So a little bit of splitting now in the 500 field following that pit stop round. CJ now with a healthy advantage. And everybody else seemingly also just with that couple of second split between each other. So no real battling going on at the moment. We are going to cut to the 300s, where there is certainly some battling going on. And that is the battling going on between, well, VRS Dick getting lapped by AJ. Right behind it is Joe of the Fire and GT Welsh. And those two are locked in a battle position, and they haven't really been further apart from each other all race, basically, than the distance you see right now. Of course, it's been a little bigger. It's also been a little closer. It's just been on a balancing board, basically, for the entire race, as Joe goes a little deep there through turn one. Maybe just fighting the effects of all that damage. And Welsh also noting, as you'd probably expect, that the GTR would be tougher on the front tires than the Audi R8. Well, that would make very good sense indeed, with the GTR being a front-engine car compared to the mid-engined R8. And of course, it also means that the two cars will be prone to different types of not only weight distribution and therefore general car behavior, but also in the particular sense that you get different types of understeer at different types of speeds, and the feel was just a very different feel, and also a very nice difference that we actually have a GT300 class that includes both mid-engine and front-engine cars. That's always nice to see. CJ now having had his pit stop taken care of, and now he is just ready to get those last 11 laps out of the way as well. He's looking at a strong advantage, even though it is certainly not a decisive advantage, because should he make a mistake in any way that would cause him to have another pit stop or something, it would be the race going right into the hands of Storm Pacer, because he is still within, well, I'd say around 6 to 8 seconds, maybe a little bit more behind CJ. It's also Fred Dude there, having made his way back up into third position, possibly following the pit stop of Pinkery there on lap 16. Pinkery's put in a lap time of 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and he's on an out lap, so of course that is due to his pit stop being taken care of now. Aveoop here had his pit stop. Oh, I'm sorry, of course it is Zephyr we're looking at. He had his pit stop early on, but it's also been having a bad lap there on lap 13. So was that another pit stop for Zephyr, or, well, I guess we'll never know. So Welsh and Joe of the Fire, and now Welsh really closing in upon his compatriot there in front, and getting a really good run up through the fast S's here as we come down towards the Italian carousel. And Welsh goes to the outside to make a move there and might go for the cutback on Joe there, even though Joe takes the tight line and also manages to get a good exit. But Welsh most certainly within that strong slipstream there at the moment. So close to Joe of the Fire, who gets a little bit too much car over the curb there. Tries to push Welsh onto the right side of the track there, really taking the defensive line into the double right-hander. And then is coming down towards the last couple of turns. It is two left-handers here. And then the final turn where it's also so easy just to miss the apex and get it wrong. But none of those drivers do that, at least this time around. Let's see who gets the best apex onto that back straight. Or the front straight. Getting a little confused here in all that action. Oh, Joe of the Fire getting a little sideways through turn 1. Manages to keep Welsh behind him for turn 2. And then the R8 is strong on that exit. Through the sweeper here and then into turn 4. As we go on board with GT Welsh here. Oh, Joe of the Fire just getting sideways, and Welsh in turn real burp understeering through turn 5 and getting way wide there on the exit of the turn once more, and that really loses him some important time. And I really shouldn't be drinking soda while I'm doing this, because I have to burp all the time, and that's just a note to myself for next time out. Too much talking for soda drinking. I should get something less fizzy, I think, so I don't have to burp all the time. But anyways, it's a great battle showing at the moment here, as Welsh seemingly getting the best braking there, but Joe getting a strong exit. Let's see if the GTR can really tuck itself into that slipstream coming up the hill here through the SS. Oh, as Joe of the Fire just misses the apex a little bit there. But Welsh still not able to really capitalize on the pressure he is putting onto the Professor at the moment. And the Professor is just being cool, calm and collected. We haven't seen him really buckling, even though he has been having a couple of slidey moments, especially through one. Doesn't get this one, or doesn't get it this time around. However, he just gets it about right. And it's been a while since we've had a check with the course it is, or there isn't anything given in motorsports, but close to given it is at this point that CJ is leading this race. And he has just been looking like it has been a cruise for him so far. And the same could be said about Jomas leading the GT 300 class at the moment. Storm Pacer still second in the 500s, with Fred Dude still third. And then there is a bit of a battle now for fourth position, with Pinkery, Avoop and Zephyr having caught up there. So now also some action going down within the GT 500 class, and that is going to be great to watch here. Two Nissan GTRs trying to get the better of that Lexus, but the Lexus really has the straight line speed. The Spaghetti Bowl, that is a great name for turn 11 indeed. The Spaghetti Bowl it is. The Pasta Bowl. Or we could call it the Curva Bolognese. I'm sorry if it's a bit too... it's probably a bit too much. I apologize. I apologize. Yellow card. Anyways, Pinkery, oh, keeping fourth position there, also getting a little slide out upon the exit. Avoop still in fifth position with Zephyr, just lurking behind in sixth. Oh, it's Welch there through turn one, looking to get very far in over, but it's because CJ is getting on his way through there, and Joe of the Fire just seemingly getting a little bit of space. And will he lose it just as quickly? And hello to Avoop, and great to see you in chat as well, mate. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to the MultiGT, I guess both in racing terms and in viewing terms as well. Great to have you along, and great to follow the battle between you, Pinkery, and Zephyr here for fourth position. And Joe senses more spicy action coming up, so we better listen, because Welch is getting closer. Welch having caught up once more, so we're gonna be probably just trying to get the best of the action here from both classes. GT Welch certainly within the slipstream. And Joe of the Fire going very defensive there, with Welch actually trying to get around the outside. A big balls move by GT Welch, but Joe of the Fire just holding on there in his Hugo Boss race suit there through the final turn. Let's see if Welch can get the run on Joe of the Fire. He certainly is really close. Turn one, always a good time for making attacks, but neither this time around, and the Audi does seem to be a little stronger than the Nissan here through the first sector. And these three are also just still going at it. as Pinkery just about manages to keep it on track, but he will not have a good entrance for turn 2 there. And you see that on the gap down to Avoop. He just came right up to his bumper through turn 2 there and does the same through turn 4. The Frenchman gets a really good run through there, gets a perfect line, just clipping the apex, and now he's all glued to the bumper of the Lexus in front. Turn 5, a difficult place to make the move. Cut back seeming to be the best option for the Frenchman, but that had put him on the outside through the double left-hander there coming into the S's, and now they also have to contend with one of the BMWs in traffic there, so it's certainly not going to make it any easier. And almost going in the blink of an eye, he's going from offensive to defensive now as Zephyr is on the bumper of the Frenchman. Avoop as they come down towards the spaghetti bowl. And up through the S's there. Avoop getting a great exit in order to hold off Zephyr, but Zephyr really close now, and he's certainly within the slipstream. Oh, just really close there, both of them having a late braking contest there. And well done to both of you so far for really just keeping your head cool, as Welch is getting very close to Joe of the Fire coming in through turn 1. The blue flags being waved are of course because I think it is Fred Dude there coming to pass these two drivers. Well, that doesn't mean they have real blue flag obligations because they are not really racing each other. So it is of course in pure terms of racing law, it is the responsibility of the faster car to find his way around the GT300s. But that doesn't mean that it's always that way. It just pans out here. Fred Dude is having to... Oh, he gets a really good overtake there on Joe of the Fire. And once more, Welch just losing out a little bit of time on the traffic there. And Joe of the Fire just gaining a little bit of that vital breathing space. However, the next ones to come up and pass that duel in the 300 class is the duel we've been watching in the GT500s. And just looking at the lap times of CJ, it is looking very orderly, and just as we have a look, he's going a little bit wide there through the penultimate corner and there through the final turn. And that means 5 laps. That's of course just 4 laps now remaining for CJ. Storm Pacer having really closed the gap and having been quite a bit faster actually over several of the last laps here. Really showing his pace through the final part of the race here, the Brit, and looking very strong. And had the race been a little longer, or could imagine he would actually be challenging CJ for real. With only 4 laps remaining, that gap of, well, just about 3-4 seconds, it is going to be really difficult to close up. Fred Dude in P3, a little bit on an island at the moment, but he'll be looking to consolidate his position at least. And then it is still Pinkery, Avoop and Zephyr as they come around. Both Joe of the Fire and GT Welch here. And it is through Sector 1. As they come through turn 4, it seems they all get cleanly through there. Pinkery definitely has gained a little time there, and Zephyr in turn definitely also lost a little bit of time through that battle there. As we go back to check out there, oh, Joe of the Fire getting a bad entrance to turn 5, but doesn't lose too much time. So for the first time in quite a bit of laps, we're seeing just a little bit of air between the cars of Pinkery, Avoop and Zephyr in the battle for Ps 4, 5 and 6. But definitely not over yet, as the Frenchman who was really defending well when Zephyr was attacking before. He is now just slowly but surely. Oh, that is Zephyr going wide in the penultimate corner and losing all of his advantage in that situation. And now he'll have dirty tires, and that will make him an easy target. I did not see whether there was really contact between the two cars or not. Might have been a little bit. Backhead never surrender. Well, that's a nice one. And you are certainly proving a point there. Seems like the British, however, is also putting up quite a fight. Pinkery there. Oh, getting a little slide on the exit, and now it is really close. Whoa, and they almost go 3 wide. And now it is Awoop that has taken 4th position. The action is strong there. Zephyr goes around the outside. He has the inside line for the first of the S's and puts himself in front of Pinkery. So in a matter of seconds, Pinkery did go from 4th to 6th position. Just buckled under the pressure, the French pressure of Awoop, now taking 4th position. And trying to make some kind of comeback here, getting through on the outside. Oh, but just breaking too deep. And Zephyr is able to cut back on the inside of Pinkery there, keeping a hold of 5th position. As in turn, Joe of the Fire, having gotten a little bit of distance in between himself and GT Welsh, but that sounded like a rev limiter. And if it was, it certainly won't be helping his advantage indeed. As we are nearing the last 2 laps of the race, this battle is heating up more than ever. And it is looking more and more decisive indeed here. CJ, well, close to only 1.5 lap remaining for the Greek. And he certainly has been looking strong today. But Storm Pacer is getting closer and closer and closer. Backend versus Crumpet versus Scone. Oh. That is chat at its best. I love you guys. That's that is. Yeah, I'm lost for words. Storm Pacer in 2nd position. He's had a strong race. Fred Dude, given that he also had a little bit of problems with the lag and stuff, he's certainly also been looking strong today. And Awoop still now under the pressure from Zephyr. Zephyr, who's really been looking strong from race to race at the moment. He's now wanting to overtake the 2nd place GT300 of Sam Digby there. And that is a good position to overtake any kind of traffic in. Coming down to the spaghetti bowl or the half bowl. Because it is certainly... yeah. Joe, Jesus Christ. But Awoop still defending very well. Certainly not missing any apexes because he cannot afford to at the moment. He has to place his car, so there is no way around, and that is exactly what he's doing at the moment. So good job on him so far, the Frenchman. Driving the car that Armored Core is normally driving around here. CJ, he is on the final lap now. Storm Pacer, well, it will require a mistake from CJ, and he just hasn't looked like making any so far. Oh, as Zephyr now gets really close there. As they come through turns 3 and 4. Still Awoop leading there, but he gets a little bit of a bad exit. And now Zephyr might make the decisive charge upon the final lap as they come in towards turn 5. He has the faster outside line, and he will be able to go for the cutback there. Will it be the failure of the French defense on the last lap? Oh, what a strong cutback move from Zephyr. Sees the best of Awoop, and it in turn sends the Frenchman down into P5. Even though it is not all over, he's still within the slipstream. We could still see an attack coming into the spaghetti bowl here. It is great stuff here upon the last lap. Edge of the seat, at least for me here. Avoops on the outside, tries just to focus on the exit. That's very, very, very possible that he will get a good one there coming out. He is very close, and he is certainly within the slipstream. So he will be able to try to send one up the inside. One final charge. But he gets locked out there. Strong work from Zephyr so far. Also great defending there. Oh, that's close one also. Oh, and gets a little bit of a poor exit there, and that might just be it. I think that's it. But what a battle there, and just as we're seeing this, Jomas winning in the GT 300s. Of course, we've had CJ, Stormpacer, and Fred Dude fill out the podium in the GT 500 class. Pinkery takes P6, AJ comes home for P7 in class, Mikey P8, and in the 300s, yeah, it is Sam Digby in second position, Joe of the Fire. Is he gonna hold on to third position? It certainly looks that way. So also a super strong defensive display from the championship leader, having been under pressure from GT Wells for, well, pretty much the entire race. And still just managing, if he can manage to get a proper last turn here. Spicy bowl of spaghetti between these two, and a respectful flash of the lights from both. So great to see places 3 and 4 getting filled by those two drivers here. It is VRS Stick coming home for 5th position in class. And then it is myself taking P6, and T5 has already passed the line, so it is also the last car still running. And I actually managed to pick up some damage also on the penultimate lap, I think. Actually just making that mistake I've been talking about in the last turn. And they're just getting a chill line through the final turn and finishing my race there. So that concludes this round 4 of the TSR Multiclass Super GT Championship from Lago Maggiore, of course, the Grand Prix layout. And what a race it's been to follow. It was certainly an interesting round. It was really great fun watching you guys battle it out. And of course, as I should also say, very big congratulations to CJ and Jomas for some really strong performances. A big shout out to Stormpacer there for a really strong showing as well. Being able to actually secure a second position and being so close to CJ in the end after having started in last on the grid. So that was a really strong one also. Yeah, it was a great it was a great race to watch, and I think this is the time where I have to do a little bit of advertising for what's coming up this weekend, because on Friday, the 30th of November, we will be broadcasting the qualifying session from the International Gran Turismo League race, the 3 hours of Catalunya. As I said, on Friday evening, and then come Saturday, come the race day. So on Saturday, December 1st, we will be broadcasting both of the driver stints, and of course tune in to Aboup's Twitch channel for commentary in French. It is gonna be a blast. I'm sure it's gonna be such an interesting race to follow, with some of the very best drivers taking part. Yeah, that's gonna be great. Of course, we're going to be back come Monday with the Nuke Shot Endurance Series. And then next week, of course, also we are going to be back in a week's time with this great TSR Multiclass Super GT Series. So I think all that is left for me to say is join our... What a brain fart. Join our Discord. I was looking for that for way too long. But join our Discord. You'll find a thread for each of the championships that we broadcast. There's a time schedule thread where you can see when we are broadcasting stuff, like at least pretty much when. And there's also a thread for stuff like suggestions and what we can do better, what we're already doing good, and if there's any particular stuff you'd like to see on the channel or anything, stuff like that. It is gonna be loads of fun in there, but it's only gonna be so if you join. So go in and join on the Discord, follow us on Twitter, and that's about it for all the advertising for our own stuff that I've had to do. But anyways, thank you so much for joining in today. It has been great fun having you along. Thank you so much for your great work in chat. That has also been quite a lot of fun following on. And with that said, all there is left to say for me is take care, have fun, and until next time, bye bye.